when we talk about what we really want to give it to the people. So when I started my business, I knew that number one, I didn't want to work for anybody else. That was one of the main reasons that I started my business. I got tired of people telling me what to do. Um, and I also wanted to create my own schedule. And one thing that I figured about was that I could always make more money with my own skill set. So, as Jay-Z said, put me on God's green earth, anyway I could triple my worth. That is one of like my favorite lines that to me makes it make have what I like to say is a divine natural ability. So that DNA that's a part of you is there for a reason. It's there for you to be able to create something that's awesome. And when you look at the ability that you have inside, you just have to tap into whatever that thing is. So for me, 5 years ago, so next year my book will be 5 years old. It's called The 90-Day Focus. And the thing that I was concerned with was, why don't people do what they need to do, right? So when it came down to building a brand, I felt like part of the things that were missing was that people just don't have direction, and sometimes they don't know which way to go. So being a business coach, teaching these business classes for the last, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so, maybe a little bit less than 10 years, probably like 8, has taught me that there are people with plenty of great ideas, and a great idea is wonderful. Action with the idea, then you need to make it do. You need to make it really use is called, if it looked like some nonsense, people are not coming to it. If it looks cheap, people are not coming to it. When it looks like it's something that's quality, when it looks like you care, when they can see your passion, when they can see what you're actually doing and not just talking about, it does make a difference when people are talking about the brand. So I look at, what do you need to do in order to create that brand? Now, when I'm talking about it, I'm talking about really, how do you want people to feel? What that emotional connection that you want people to have with the things that you do? So what I want you to do is I want you to come up with 3 things that you want people to say about your brand. So if you had 3 words that you wanted people to say in regards to your brand, what would those 3 words on the phone? Give me a little bit of what anybody said. What do they feel like they want people to say about their brand?
One second there.
They're typing in.
Chat.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and speak up for myself.
Okay.
But I know I'm gonna talk to the brand, and when I tried to tell the artist and the creator creating that, I wanted it to be high class, elegant, and feel like abundance.
High class, elegant,
and feel like abundance.
And abundance.
The logo into the brand.
Okay. So when I'm hearing that there's specific colors that go with that, right? I'm hearing that there's maybe a font that goes with it. I'm feeling that it might look a little in it, but I'm just saying it looks like there was a quality that was put into the design. It doesn't look haphazard. It doesn't look thrown together. It doesn't look whimsical, right? It looks probably like something that's more of an emblem, something that could be a crest. You know what I mean? Something that you will wear on your chest and be proud to wear that thing. Something that if you were going to take it and you were going to put it inside of a luxury car and stitch it into the seats, right? That's how I feel like colors that resonate with royalty, right? And so those would probably be your blacks, your like steel platinum kind of colors, sometimes your golds, definitely royals and purples and that kind of family, right? Emerald greens, those kind of colors, which would then give the door. And taking into consideration, we need to get that from you when we see you. You have a luxury looking brand and then you look like you don't look like luxury, it really kind of puts us off. It really does not help us to really jump in there with you and feel like you represent this brand. So for instance, when you hear people saying that they do high-end stuff, but then their clothes look like Fashion Nova, that's not high-end, honey. Like we have to have a feel that goes along with it. So at it doesn't mean that your brand can't be versatile, because there's a drastic difference between us and the Fashion Nova clothing. She wants you to know that her brand is versatile and she can do whatever she wants to do with it. So give me some more stuff. What did somebody else say? What were they thinking about for their brand?
So y'all can go ahead and come off mute if anybody wants to speak to the brand. Hi, my name is Kyle Logan. I am releasing a stock brand. And as I was fine living, vacation, just getaway type of vibes. So palm trees, water,
Yep.
Just get away.
Yeah, and that's definitely when you said that, I feel that though. You know, the palm trees, I feel the sailboat, I feel pampas grass. So I feel like your brand is going to be a little bit more muted with the colors because when we think about things like that, that's when we're going to use our cool colors. That's when we're using the things that are going to be those pretty greens and that's those beautiful ocean blues, you know, definitely all the creams, the whites, the beiges. Those things resonate with people when they talk about getting away. When they're getting away, they want something that is calm and something that is tranquil. And even if you translate that brand and you take that and let's say you're going to take it to the mountains, you still have that same color palette, but then you can just go a little bit darker with it. So what I want to suggest to anybody, if you're having issues or you're trying to figure out what your colors are, find your main color first, okay? Whatever the thing is that most looks like whatever you want this brand to be. Once you do that, I have a site that I like to use called htmlcolorcodes.com, so HCOM. And it can help you to put together a palette so that this way you can see which colors are complementary, analogous, triadic colors. This way it'll help you. You're starting to develop a look for your brand. And when you take that look and you transfer that into something like, let's say, Instagram, and you want to have, you know, those 3 pictures going across and then the next 3, and then, you know, if you decide you want to do some type of puzzle diagram kind of thing, it helps you to be able to have a consistent look and a consistent feel, and everything doesn't have to be matchy-matchy. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of times people want everything to look exactly the same. And it's nothing wrong with that because it creates consistency. But I think that for me, the brand can have more of a feel and a look. And I think that the feel of it makes more sense. So when I look at my brand specifically, the things that I like to say are confidence and color and quality. Those are the things that I want people to be able to see. And you can translate that in your brand based on the pictures that you take of your products, of your services, the things that you say, the quality of the video that you put out, the quality of the photos that you take. And you can always tell when a person had great intentions with the brand and then when somebody else kind of took over and then put it into a place where that brand is now really awesome because they saw that vision. So let me give you a person that I like to follow because she creates all kinds of just wonderful branding options for people. And hers is, there's a young lady on Instagram named Paper Candy Designs by D. Okay, so it's PAPERCANDY DESIGNSBYD concepts and experiences. Now, the difference in her and me is she is a graphic designer. So her eye and her ability to capture an essence of what you're talking about doing is something that I think is a valuable thing. And so a lot of times we want to create some stuff on our own, which is really great. But we may need somebody else to take that idea and zhuzh it up just a little bit when we talk about our branding. So when you look at your pictures, now this is just for me. I like to do a photo shoot at least once a month. Now, I love a good picture. I promise you I do. And to me, it's a part of the brand to have all those great quality pictures. Now, you can take some great pictures with your own camera and all of that, so it's nothing wrong with that. But I always look at the colors that I'm wearing. Does it match the brand? How is the mood going? And so even if, I'm sorry you can't see me, but like I said, I'll show you this video afterwards. I'll share the link with Kennedy. My house looks like the brand because everything matches. The artwork that I have in here, the pillows that are on the couch, the things that are in my real life reflect the brand. And I think that it makes it easier too when you say, well, if I'm really this brand, then I should look like this brand. You know, and it's not even talking about how you live because you can make it look like anything online, but you should look like the brand in the clothing that you put on and take care and consideration to make sure that people understand this not just this is my business, this is some stuff that I do, but that it's a lifestyle that goes along with it. All right. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead and throw your questions in that you may have right now. Or if anybody else wants to give me any 3 things that they're thinking about for their brand, go ahead and do that.
How you doing?
Hey.
My name is Garcia. I know that we talk about like colors that we have feelings and different things like that. My question to you is, as we're picking out our brand, as we already have that brand in mind, and we're looking for different colors, not only to look good, but to give a certain feel, how do we know when it is it?
How do you know when it is what?
Like, how do you know, like, okay, this is it. This is perfect for my brand.
What is your brand about? Tell me what you do.
Okay, so I'm a personal trainer. My brand is called Body Mechanics. The motto is you fix your mind, body, and soul.
Oh, okay. I like that. Okay, so you gave me 3 words right there. The things that you put out should reflect mind, body, and soul. If the things that you put out stray from that, that's when you're off brand. So I'm going to give you, and this is a little secret tip. I don't even know nothing about this, but I'm about to give you a whole little tip that goes into this. Okay, you found your colors. All right. So when you go to HTML color codes, what's going to happen is it's going to give you a hex code. And that hex code is going to be 5 digits and or a combination of numbers together. Right. So the thing is that when you go to use that, if you use Canva, now Canva is a design software, canva.com, and I'm sure plenty of you have heard of Canva and plenty of you use Canva. But inside of Canva, when you go to the photos section to find photos to put into your graphics, or even sometimes to find videos that go into your graphics, you can type in your actual hex code and it will pull up pictures that have your exact color in the pictures. Which means you can find things that represent mind, body, and soul and still use your colors and still match everything and not just have a picture of bodies and not just have, so it can be a combination of things that still resonate with people. So let's say there's a picture that comes up and it's somebody that looks like they're thinking and it has your colors that are in there. You're thinking about getting healthy. You're knowing what you need to do. You need to make better decisions, right? And so when you put your content together, you want to always speak to those 3 things and stay on path. So a lot of the things that I do, just as an example, if I'm telling you confidence and color and quality, I make sure that the pictures are always quality. I make sure to tell stories a little bit and share a little insight about myself. As far as the color, I'm always going to match the colors. And so I specifically buy clothing to coordinate with what the brand is. But those are the things that resonate with me as well. And then I'll change it up each month with some of the clothing. But if you go back, you can always see that something from a year ago will match something that's today that's current, And then we talk about quality, taking those quality pictures, but also putting out the types of posts that people are interested in. When I talk about confidence, I'm a little cocky. Okay. So I'll say cocky things in my speech. Now, I like to curse. I'm just going to be honest with you. So one of the things that I do, my podcast is called Real Ass Affirmations. So I'm going to give you a real ass affirmation. All right. And then if I'm saying it in a video, or if I put up a meme or something that resonates with that, it's still giving you that same feel in the content that I'm putting out, but then the visual part of it also matches. So if you use that as a tip, that's one thing that you can definitely do to help people to find things that match your brand. And one of the other sites I like to use, it's called Pexels. So Pexels is Pexels, and Pexels will have all kinds of just great pictures that elicit emotion that still match your brand. So whether you're in Pexels or whether you're in Canva or wherever else you find inspiration for your brand, type in the words that you said, those 3 words that represent your brand, and see what other people have put out that makes sense for your content. Now, it may be that what they put out looks too much like their stuff, but you can still get inspiration from it and you can use it for your brand so that now you have something that's authentic to you. And people, I'm gonna be honest, people overuse the word authentic. They really do. Okay. Pizza's authentic. All right. Authentic, such and such food. People overuse the word authentic. But I feel that the biggest thing for us to take into consideration is that when you look at it, you're like, oh, that post is nice. And it doesn't even have to get a whole lot of likes. Okay. Did you like that post when you put it out? Did it look good to you? Did it feel good to you? Those are the things that resonate with people. And then also I want to tell you, we overdo it sometimes. You know what I mean? Sometimes the simplest picture can just make us be drawn into your brand. So I have a friend that's in New York and they have a lifestyle brand called Sanctuary Life. Now, Sanctuary is a luxury brand that sells things for wellness and wholeness, and they specialize in helping small businesses to sell their goods. So they put out a picture the other day that was a picture of a ginger root. It was the simplest thing, but the colors, the feel of it, and they talked about wellness, it resonated with their brand. They don't sell ginger, you know what I mean? But the feel of it and then the healing properties and what ginger does for your body makes sense with the things that they're selling and that emotion that they're trying to elicit from you. So take that into consideration, that if it feels good to you, it'll probably feel good to somebody else. All right. Anybody else have anything? Anybody else want to chat?
Yeah. How you doing?
Hey.
Thanks for listening. So my brand, it's called Yacht Talk. And
It's called what? Say that again.
what I do is called Yacht Talk.
Yachts off. Okay.
Yacht Talk. You know, like a yacht.
Yes, yachts. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what I do is I take the concept of a yacht and I do it's an Instagram live show, it's a podcast that I do, and I interview individuals like on the ride, so like that. Because one of the first things you think of, when you think of a yacht is that's a good place in your life, good vibes, champagne toasting, shades, Friday afternoon, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I love it.
I take that concept and I say, I invite people to the yacht and essentially, we have that talk, and have like great conversation. And my main goal out of that is my three words, educate, entertain, or inspire the viewers, with the guests that I have on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So those colors I think are like are from what I've seen it's like white, like a light blue, and kind of could be like a light orangish, based on like the sunset, taking a little bit down.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I just wanted to explain that. Of course, give towards that to like grow it and.
So I feel like
I'm trying to figure out with the content because it's a podcast. Okay, how can I put content out that's not just the podcast videos, and I can like tie this all together? So it's more than just what I can get right.
So the question would be, how do you take your brand from it? And I'm not trying to demean anything, but let's say just being a podcast to being something that's more lifestyle driven. So for instance, there is a thing that's out that's called Yacht Rock. And so it's basically the type of music that you would listen to if you're on a yacht. So you can look it up on YouTube because, I've listened to it before. It's some really great stuff. And Alchemist, and I don't know if you know who Alchemist is, but Alchemist, he's a producer out of California. Alchemist does this whole vibe of yacht rock. So to me, it sounds like what you're trying to do is basically create a Rick Ross-esque kind of thing, except for it's your version of it, right?
You talking my language now.
Okay.
I'm
okay, so that's what it sounds like.
Champagne glass, all that.
Yes. So what I would say for you to do is take into consideration the types of things that go along with that. Now, I'm going to throw this out there to you and I want you to catch it. So I would say do things that bring on people that are like mixologists, right? Where then you can have custom drinks that go along with your podcast where people can actually see them being made. Take it, put it into an ebook, and then have a Yacht Talk ebook where in the ebook they can then click and listen to an episode, but then they can also download, or get a recipe or whatever they need to do so that this way it accompanies it. Because to me, that's something that's a little extra that you probably don't see everybody doing. When you look at that, I'm thinking like, I see champagne, I see Bellinis out there, I see a vision that kind of goes along with it, but you need to bring on the type of guests that represent that lifestyle, or at least are trying to achieve that particular lifestyle. So at this point in time, and I'm just going to say what I would do because you sound driven, go on Clubhouse and tell people about your concept and find people on there that resonate with that brand. And the thing is, you may be able to get somebody and get access to them, somebody that you were not able to get access to prior to COVID, that now they're sitting at home and they just want to talk. And so sure, they'll jump on somebody's podcast. Now, I'm not talking about, you could get like a love and hip hop type of person. I don't think that that's the direction. I'm talking about somebody that's actually got a yacht. Okay. Not just people that not just people that get on a yacht and drink water out of a wine glass trying to make it look like it's something. So if you can find those types of people that have that influence in the community, I think that would be something that makes sense, So there's something else that hopefully then you can sell and monetize in addition to your podcast, because then it's this whole vibe and it's this whole lifestyle that goes along with it. Now, I would also probably take into consideration with your podcast, have an intro to your podcast that sounds like yachts, right? Let's have that yacht talk, yacht kind of feel to it. So it introduces you into it and it gives us the feels for it and that vibe. And then create a video that also feels like it. So if that means you need to go and let's say right now you don't have yacht money, go get on a little boat like I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about your boy that was just bow wow on that little dinghy that he was just on. Go get on a boat. Go do something that gives you the feels for yacht rock. So, for instance, we have with this brand that we're creating called Give It to the People. So with Give It to the People, we do a thing that's called mental wealth mentorship. And so it's a membership that people pay a monthly membership to. And everything I do is talking about mental wealth. And I'm not just talking about your health per se, but I think of the things that I have a phrase that we use that's called wealthy shit. So what's the shit that makes you feel wealthy, right? And so when I think of that, you have to take into consideration that it's a mindset of you feeling a certain way about things. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that you have a whole lot of money. So I'll do things like go buy little teeny weeny glasses and put an orange slice on the side of the glass and drink out of the little glass with my pinky up, and that's wealthy shit, right? But it doesn't have to be anything that's so extravagant for your mindset to feel wealthy about it. And for me, I mean, it's about creating that concept and for people to understand that they can be wealthy and that they already have that within them. So if you've seen recently, Lenny Kravitz just did this commercial, right? And in the commercial, he's talking about that when we're born, we have a billion, whatever, seconds or something like that. And he's just like, so basically, whatever that is, that makes everybody a billionaire. The concept of that and how simple it was, you that there is billionaire potential in you. And if you view yourself in a certain way, then that means, of course, he's aligning with this brand that you probably need to get this brand. But he's also just telling you to think that way about yourself. So I think too, things where people don't necessarily have all of the confidence that they need, which is why they don't achieve what they should. And so it's not to say success looks different to different people. So if you're going to be successful in your brand, yours doesn't mean the same thing as mine. A person that's a lawyer could say, well, I want to be a lawyer and I will do some things pro bono because I want to help XYZ amount of people, and they feel successful. But then another lawyer may say, well, I'm not going to take these types of cases because it may mess up my record. And so if it's not going to be XYZ as far as a star-studded thing or whatever, then I'm not going to take it because they want a certain level of recognition which shows success. But that's going to be different for everybody. And so for your brand, you can measure success based on how many people you actually touch and affect, how many customers you have, how many orders you send out. You can base it on how many views you have, how many subscribers, how many downloads. You can base your brand around different parts of success and then use those metrics to bolster your confidence, but then also use those metrics to tell other people that they should be confident in spending with your brand because of the fact that you've been able to achieve XYZ. So whatever your numbers are, that makes sense to you. So, for instance, my goal is to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. All right. Once I get that, I'm good. Why? Because then after that, I can monetize it. My podcast, it's monetized. I get a check on a monthly basis. I get a check on a monthly basis from my books, So being able to have something that you are going to continually make money on, but also something that you can be proud of and that represents you and what you're really about, that to me is the whole essence of branding. So any questions, or does anybody else want to go? Or do you have any comments? Did anybody make a comment?
No, I didn't even think of that drink that you told me about. I think that's next level.
I'm telling you. Hold up. Let me throw this in there too. you need to go ahead and start putting playlists together. Because I do a playlist like with my magazine that we have. Oh yes, FYI, the next issue of Give It to the People magazine is coming out on March 2nd. Totally completely free. Follow me on Instagram at Chisa Pennix-Brown, which is ChisaPennsBrown. And then you can go in and you can get the first issue, but the next one will be out on Tuesday. We put playlists in our magazine every time because we want people to get a vibe for what we feel. So add a playlist in there, do the drinks and all of that, and give them a feel. All right. So what else you got?
Yeah.
You with me now, right?
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to piggyback and ask the question. Just like how Bart described his colors, or his this is the same guy who said about the can. So does every color need to mean something? Let's say you have a three-way color. Every color needs to mean something to you or to everybody else.
That's a good question. So colors automatically have meaning. There is a color kind of wheel thing that you can look up. If you go to Pinterest and then you type in like color meaning, or you could just type it into Google, they'll tell you that different colors will automatically mean different things to people. So for instance, I like to use yellow. It's my favorite color. So it means something to me because it makes me happy. But yellow is also one of those colors that brings energy, which is what I want for my brand. So if you want to look up color theory specifically, you can definitely look that up. But it may mean that color means something to you. So if you have something that resonates, like let's say, okay, so I know Kennedy's an AKA. I'm a Sigma Gamma Rho. Yellow is a part of everything that goes with Sigma Gamma Rho. Technically gold, but we'll say yellow. But I don't use yellow because of Sigma Gamma Rho. I use yellow because I already liked yellow before I joined the organization. But that doesn't is AKA everything has to be pink and green. So if you have a family reason, if it's something that you just love, but it just still needs to make sense with your brand. And the other thing is take into consideration, it doesn't mean you can't change your colors either. So that's why I'm suggesting that maybe you have colors that you use that are consistent, but then you can change and do a darker version or a lighter version of those same colors based on even a seasonal thing. So if it's winter, maybe you go with the darker version, and then if it's summertime, you go with the lighter version of it, just because that's what you're going to see. So like when I designed some logos for some clients last year at the end of the year, I had one client that was his company is called Groomers. So he does property grooming things where he does landscaping and everything. And then he also does industrial cleaning, like commercial cleaning for buildings, right? So he didn't have colors at all. But what I did was I thought about what he does and then what they're wearing. So we made sure that the colors made sense with being outside, but then also like the khaki color they would wear when they're doing the lawns, and then that brown Carhartt kind of color that they wear, when they have on those coats and stuff like that, and the boots, and gave them these make sense, especially if you're going to consider where you're going to put your logo and is it going to be printed out. It's cheaper to print stuff in black and white. So make it make sense with your brand, but does it feel good when you look at it? And sometimes when you just change one color, and it could be a shade, all of a sudden it feels different. So just kind of look at that and just see how you feel about your colors. And you could always test it out and ask people what they think, and use that before you fully launch as well. All right, anything else? Anybody else have anything?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, y'all go ahead. I'll ask after y'all.
Okay. So hi, my name is Asia Burleson, and I just had one question. So I don't really have like a business or a podcast or really anything in the works actually.
Okay.
So I'm very passionate about community education and restoring. And I believe like later down the line, 5-10 years from now, I'll be doing more of that purpose work. So like, and I haven't always figured it out. I got pieces of like the puzzle.
Okay.
So I guess how can I kind of make sense of the idea? Like I have like a small framework of the idea, but it's not all the way there, if that makes sense.
Okay, so I have a couple of things. First off, hi Asia, that's one. Second off, When you say community restoration, I need you to tell me what you mean by that, so that this way I can be more clear on the purpose.
Okay, so like, I believe like in some way that my job is to do community building, restoring, building, broken communities by restructuring, revitalizing, policy work. So, and I don't have the whole logistics. Like, so I'm not going to be prepared to launch that into like years. I can do my research and, yeah, probably a lot of research until I relaunch that.
Okay.
Launch that. Yeah.
So let me say this. It's still not clear because it sounds like the things that you said are synonyms for each other. It didn't say, what do you want to do to actually make that happen? You see what I'm saying? So when you look at it like this, let me just give it to you how I break it down. There's a main goal. So whatever that main goal is, that's the big thing. Then what's the objective that you actually want to reach? And then you come up with the tactics. So it sounds like to me, everything that you just said still sounds like the goal, but I don't really understand specifically what you want to do. Because once you have a goal, then what's your objective? Like if you say to me, I want to restore, and I'm just giving you my version of what you said. If you say, I want to restore communities, how do you want to do that? What's the thing that you want to do? So if you say my objective is for the kids that are in this particular community, you start off with a group of kids to be able to increase their reading level by 2 years if they go through whatever project you have that's out there. Okay, if you said that you want the families to be more connected, and then you provide activities where the families can be more connected, you see what I'm saying? So everything that you said sounds like the goal, which is not a problem. So you just need to figure out what is going to be the objective of what you want to achieve, because you can measure the objective. And then say, okay, well, these are the ways that I want to do it. So maybe I want to do something virtual. I want to bring in a particular person that has this skill set. I want to test the kids and then see where they're at now and then where they're at 6 months later. So figure out the thing that's the objective of what you really want to be able to reach, because it sounds like yours is so general that will happen is you could go in so many different ways, but you have a skill set and a passion. And then what will happen is you will have and you have tutors that come in. And that's one thing. But you could say reading level and you could get somebody to sponsor books to be sent in or tablets or something. So find out what the thing is that you really want to do that's a part of it, and then you can go put the tactics together to make it actually happen, and those resources and those pieces. But let me say this, the one thing that you said that I don't like at all, this is not going to take you years. It's going to take you years to refine, but it should not take you years to start. Because if you start now, you'll be years ahead of where you would be if you waited 3, 4, 5 years to start. So don't wait to start. Figure out something and do your small piece now, and then work on it to make it bigger. Now, if you want something a little more tangible to be able to do, look up the Lean Canvas, Lean, and then Canvas. Look up the Lean Canvas. Put your ideas, each one of them, on a Lean Canvas, because it's there to help you to show, what do I need? What are my resources? Am I going to have a revenue stream? Which, of course, you should. Who do I need to talk to in order to get this? Who's going to be the customer that comes, that's a result of me doing whatever this is? And it doesn't matter if it's a nonprofit or a for-profit, you still want to get the idea out of your head and then see how you're going to work it. So tangible wise, go to the Lean Canvas online, print it out, and then go ahead and then start putting your pieces together, and don't wait years to do it, because you could accomplish so much you could accomplish a lot this year, okay? Because you could even do, once you figure out specifically what you want, you could do community building now, right? You could do it this year and have an impact on somebody instead of trying to wait. It doesn't need to be perfect for you to start it and then for you to refine that idea to where then you can replicate it. Because what if your project becomes something that is a nationwide thing? What if it does? But it can't do it if you don't go ahead and start it. So that's my advice to you. Figure it out, then just start something and start small and build it, and then see what you need to do to improve it. And then you'll have that refinement process, and then you'll have something that you're really happy and proud of, and it'll be here sooner than later. All right, anybody else?
Yeah. Hey, me again.
Hey, me.
Yeah. So I had a question. I didn't mention this while you were talking. So, unfortunately, when I tried to go trademark y'all stuff, somebody had trademarked you already, like only like after I actually launched it on IG. So my mom thinks somebody like saw it and trademarked it. But nonetheless, I don't want to give up the concept of yacht talk, like the yacht portion of it. But if I can't use the actual name yacht talk, I'm trying to figure out a way to still portray that if I have to change the name from actual yacht talk. And so I've been having a struggle for a while trying to figure out like what the name can be that I can still like push the concept of the yacht, because I don't want to let the concept go.
Okay, so this is the thing. If they've already trademarked it, you are going to have to change your name. Now, if they trademarked it in the area that you're talking about using it in, and even if they haven't, it still could be an infringement upon their trademark. So it is going to be a waste of your time for you to continue knowing you know it that it's already trademarked. So look for a synonym for talk like chat, or look for another way to say it and use yacht in it. Like it could be yacht-ish, you know what I'm saying? Yacht stuff, yacht things. I mean, it could be, you know what I'm saying? It could be a lot. I mean, it can't be yachty though. Don't use yachty. That's a problem. But I mean, it needs to, if you still want to keep that, you can use the hashtag yacht talk all day because nobody can own a hashtag. But I mean, now that I know that, you're going to have to change your name so that this way you don't have any problems legally. So for anybody, and I'm glad you brought that up, if you're thinking about what you want to name stuff and you have not trademarked it, go to the U.S. Trademark Office, which is uspto.gov, and see if anybody has the name, so that this way you don't start a brand and have to stop it. Because if that person sends you the cease and desist letter, you are going to have to stop doing business, and it's a waste for you to put all of that energy and effort into it, because you can go buy a domain name all day. Anybody's going to sell you a domain name. You can go put it on Instagram. You can put it on wherever you want social media wise. But once that person sends you the letter because they feel like you are infringing, you will have to make those changes, or you're going to have to go to court and fight. And it's not worth it because they already have the proof that they have trademarked it. And so I've seen this happen to people more than one time. And, the thing is, if you have a great idea that you feel really passionate about and you want to trademark it and nobody has, go ahead and start the process, because it's not like you're going to send in your paperwork and it's done tomorrow. It could take you up to a year or more to get a trademark back. So it's a process that goes along with that. And you need to go ahead and start that process, because the difference is they'll at least be able to see when you initiated getting your trademark in the first place, to prove that you had already started the process, even if somebody else did try to trademark something. So that's what I would say. All right. Anybody else?
I have a question along the trademark conversation.
Sure. Hey.
Do you have to trademark a name and a logo and a mission
statement? A tagline? No. Not a mission statement, but a tagline. Yes. So they can be together, but they can't ask you what's the name, and it'll ask you, do you actually have a graphic/logo to go with it? And if you don't, then fine. If you do, then you put it together. So like for mine, when I went to go look for things, it was the name, and then it was also the tagline that was there. But with the name, I had the logo, so it was putting that in there. So if you are trying to have all of your intellectual property together, you want to have as much together as possible. But this is the real issue that comes along with trademarking. You need to prove that you're using it. So you can't just be like, oh, well, I opened up a website, and so now all of a sudden you need to give me the trademark. You need to be using it in the course of that you want to trademark, and you're in this specific designation of whatever you're trying to trademark for. Then, like, let's say you're saying, okay, well, I want to be a speaker. So being a speaker, then I need to show that I'm speaking. And not only am I speaking, I'm using this name when I'm speaking. And this is the tagline that goes along with it. But you could also say, well, I want to trademark a program name. And so if I want to trademark a program name, then I'm using this program. I've done this program. Here it is. And the thing is, it can't be like, I want to trademark something and you haven't done it yet. So if you're saying, okay, well, I do want to do it, you got to put it out there so that this way it shows that it's actually in use, because that's the whole point of it. Otherwise, everybody would just trademark everything, but you have to be using it. So take that into consideration. Whatever the idea is, like when I said don't wait, go ahead and put that idea into practice and start using it so that you can prove that, and they have records to go back on, whether it's something online, something that you filed in a state, you know, whatever it is, you're using your actual thing that you want to trademark. All right, anybody else?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. My name is Patrick Edmonds. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you for coming on and your time, dropping all these gems. That's really appreciated.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
So, my brand is PLE3 Visions, right? So I was already struggling with the brand name, the title anyway. Basically, like, it's just my initials.
Mm-hmm.
But my slogan is basically, dreams are temporary, but visions last forever.
Oh, that's nice.
So basically, it's just videography, photography, and visual arts.
Mm-hmm.
The goal is just to be a filmmaker.
Mm.
All kinds of ideas that I want to tie into it. So basically, I just want to see like what you saw, or what do you think when you hear that? And you know, I'm also in the process of developing a new logo as well. So kind of like light blue.
Mm-hmm.
One, that's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Dreams, forever, just kind of just like, you know, sky, clouds, stuff like that. So I just wanted to hear what you had.
No, I like that. For dreams, it definitely makes sense. So I can see your grays, your blues, because the thing is with dreams, they're often looked at as hazy. So maybe even with your logo, and I mean, because of what you're talking about doing, I would also make an animated version of my logo where there is some smoke or something coming out of it. But I'm going to be honest, the name that you have is very general. So you would need to explain what that name means. So if you're going to then say that you're doing what you're doing, in that you need to probably have something that looks like video photography or something like that that's made into the actual logo, so that it's easy to see, oh, okay, well, we can tell what he's doing without him having to explain it. Otherwise, you do have to explain what you do. But the other side of that, the flip side of that coin is, because it's so general, it allows you to be able to be a lot more fluid with where you want to go as far as the direction of your business. So if it changes from one thing to another, or you are like multifaceted, then the name is so general that, okay, it could represent anything. You know what I'm saying? Because you could be PL3 and you could be a trucking company. You know what I mean? So having a general name can be good. And when you also look into production and film, a lot of those names are like really things that you have to explain what it is. So like, I always think of like Bad Robot. So Bad Robot is out there, but does that mean film design? It doesn't until they tell you what it means, and then you know that they're a production company. So I would say that if you want to keep it and you want it to be as general as possible, just take into consideration that you are going to have to explain what you do. And you may want to, if you're just going to use the letters, like you said, you may want to put photography, videography, something underneath there so people understand what you do. Or again, have something that's a visual reference for people. But yeah, I think that's good. That's good. And yeah, that's it. That's it for you, because that makes sense for what you're doing, I think.
Thank you.
No problem. All right. Anybody else?
I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I will have to. Okay, so basically, what I'm trying to do is I want to have like a luxury line, clothing line, motivation like line,
Mm-hmm.
and I have like different ideas. So like I'm a tall individual, so like I know that I want all my clothes to fit me, and like marketing as like. I know, like, one of the marketing strategies will be, like, that I'm tall, resonate with tall people, and it's not going to be, like, too expensive or, like, that. But I also want to, like, motivate, like, a large population of people, not just tall people, but, like, also, like, business. So I want to have, like, business jackets. So I have, like, so many different ideas that I want to have, like, I just, like,
okay.
I don't want to say limit myself, but I don't want to overextend myself.
Okay, so let me say this first. You said things that contradicted themselves. So you said luxury, but then you said you don't want it to cost too much. Luxury is going to cost. And if you're tall, it's extra fabric. It's going to cost. It's just like I'm plus size. I mean, so it costs more for certain things. It just does, because you actually have to put in a little bit more work or fabric or whatever it is. So if it's luxury, then you have to understand that you are going to have to charge a luxury price for it. That's it, right? So it's just like, you can go and you can get a t-shirt that's like a $10 t-shirt. And if it says Billionaire Boys Club on it, that t-shirt is $80. Okay? It's still the same cotton t-shirt, but they're charging $80 for it. Okay? So could somebody design something that look almost exactly like for the same price? Yes, they could, and it could be cheaper. One of my former interns, she is based in Raleigh, and her name, if you want to look her up on Instagram, is Rhonda Lynette Designs. So it's RHONDA LYNETTEDESIGNS. Now, Rhonda is tall, and she went to A&T, and she was a fashion design major. And she went ahead and she started making her own clothing line. So she specifically only does clothes for tall women because she's tall. There is a market for just tall women. All right. So I think that what you're talking about doing, when you get into certain things, people expect to pay more. So if I decided I wanted to be a vegan, I know that I'm going to pay more than the person that's going to get a dollar McNuggets at Burger King. You know what I'm saying? It costs more to do certain things. So if you're going to go that route, just know and expect that from the beginning. And tall people expect to pay more money. All right. And so I would say with you, what area are you starting with as far as with the clothes? Like, are you going to design them, or are you going to buy wholesale and then resell them? What are you planning on doing for that part of it?
Honestly, I think I'm gonna get it all created. Like, not really like finding like a vendor. So I'm going to like the seamstress and like a pattern maker, stuff like that.
Okay, so you're going from complete scratch. You're going to start and you really create it, and somebody else will do the work for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to need to find somebody that's going to be able to do that for you. It is a place that's here in North Carolina, that's up. It's not all the way toward the mountains. I cannot think of the name of it right now, though, that does that. So you need to look that up somewhere here. Are you in North Carolina? Let me ask that first.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure. It's not, okay, so I'm in Greensboro. So it's past Greensboro, but it's closer toward the mountains. I cannot remember what city it is, and I do not remember the name of it. But it's basically a makerspace type of thing, except for you bring your pattern and they make the things for you. So it's exactly what you're talking about doing, and there is one here in the state. So you're going to have to just look it up, because I haven't even had to think about that in a long time, but I know that there's one that exists. And even if not there, you may need to really consider going overseas and, and finding somebody that can create that for you and create it for less and then have it shipped back to you. So it's just like, if I decided this is one of the things I want to do, like in my next life, which, maybe 10 years from now or so, I want to retire and I want to go to Ghana. And one of the things that I want to do is I want to be able to sell African print fabric. So guess where I'm going to go to get it? Africa. It's way cheaper there. If you go to like Joann's to try to get some African print fabric, it's $21.99 per yard. The same stuff that I can go online and get $7.99 per yard. So if I can go online and get it for $7.99, I can get it even cheaper than that. I'm from New York. So when I go home to New York, the same fabric, I pay like $5 a yard. So if they're selling it for $5 a yard, they probably got it for $1.50 or $2 a yard. See what I'm saying? So it's all in you having the unique things. And, Africa is another place to go to get stuff made too, because it costs less there. So overseas, to get somebody to make some things for you, and then take a vacation and write that off on your taxes. But if you need to start here in the States, make it happen, because I think it's a very good thing. And like I said, it's a specific market. There's plenty of tall women out there that want to buy your stuff.
Thank you.
You are more than welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Do we have anybody else? Well, I know we're. Go ahead.
Okay, now I'm saying, what story price?
Yeah, because I was gonna say, I know. started late, so we're about to the time that we started to make sure that you have your full hour, because one of my mantra is give it to the people. And so since we were late, we want to give it to the people and make sure that they can get it. And so I want to make sure that you guys got your questions answered, and hopefully this helps you a little bit more with your brand. I know there are people out there that are like, oh, we're brand experts. I don't like to call myself an expert at anything other than being me. I know it really well. But the thing is, there are things that I think when you love it and you feel it and it's your thing, you can make it something that other people love. So even if you think about this, I'm gonna leave you with this one. Master P, when he first came out, his music was complete trash. Okay. And even if you watch that documentary thing that they put up on BET, he said it wasn't good. Other people that were rocking with Master P said it wasn't good. But Master P is still sitting here all of these years later as still a millionaire, still making moves, okay? And so he believed that his stuff was going to be good, and if he sold enough of it, that it was going to make money. And what did he do? He's still here making. So please take your idea. Even if you feel like it might be trash at first, which I'm hoping it's not. Nobody had anything that sounded like trash tonight, right? But take it and do something with it, because you have an opportunity to live the life that you really want, but you're going to have to get it.
I have a question.
Yep. So go to the website, ladybusiness.com, LADYBIZNESS.com. It's a contact on there. Now, when I do consultations, I'm just going to tell you so that this way you don't call and be like, oh, is it free? It's absolutely not. So my consultations are $125 an hour. And then we put together a plan for you. Some people want to go over looking at their website, checking out their social media. Some people are just like, put my marketing plan together for me, tell me what to do. So I just look at what the person wants, and I try not to like necessarily break it up, because you may need a whole bunch of different things. And so within that hour, we put together a plan for you that really helps you to get what you need. And so I've never had anybody, first of all, not come back. I've never had anybody that's like, oh, that advice you gave me was horrible. It didn't work. No, that's never happened. Now I have had people that have spent the money and waited to do their idea. And then they're like, oh, I finally listened to you. I should have did. And I'm like, I know you should have did it. But the one thing I can say, oh, and then they can grow their business. So that's the whole purpose of doing it. So, also, I do free classes. There's plenty of them that are taught throughout the state. They're all online now. So when you go to the events page, you'll find the free classes. And then I have some premium classes that I teach, on my own. So they're up there. And then we have like boot camps. So it's a lot of different things that are on there. The podcast is on there. The book is on the website. All of the goodies that you need are right there on the website for you to be able to find. And like I said, if you really want to stay in touch, please follow me on Instagram. And that's at Chisa Pennix-Brown, which is CHISA. PENNIXBROWN. And then this way we can communicate, because I love to be on Instagram. That's my little happy place. So, yep.
All right, last call. Final question.
Yep.
Final question, actually. One more.
Oh, okay. I got real quick, because y'all know I'm everybody. I'm like listening to multiple different things, so I apologize. But what I've heard and the notes that I was able to scribble down, this has been very enlightening. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So for me, after a year trying to name our business and battling with the trade regard, I'm planning to start a health education and wellness business. I'm a health educator and we're prepared for getting certified, so I can say that without not being certified. But my question for you is, so the name of my business is Mauve Wellness, and Mauve is a coach. And so as far as not overloading, because Mauve is a very feminine color, because it's in that shade of like pinkish, grays, and tans.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get only women. And so in branding, because I am very girly and feminine, and if you look at like my main profile, it's because I like to make up, I like nails, etc. But I don't want to put myself in a small niche where I'm not reaching all the population I want. So what advice could you give to kind of not because I want to stay true to myself and I don't want to be someone I'm not, but I also don't want to block myself from the largest audience I could possibly have.
Okay, so two things. One, it's nothing wrong with Mauve. Just put that video up there, Jay-Z, which he's telling everybody what color it is, and he's telling them it's not pink. Okay, so that's one thing. I think that men are getting a little bit more understanding that they can wear other colors other than black and blue and brown, pretty much. So I think that is not a neutral color, but it could be seen a little bit more neutral than it has been in the past. But in addition to that mauve, you're going to need to use something else that is neutral, and the mauve may need to be your accent color as opposed to your main color if you're really trying to attract everybody. But on the flip side of that, you are still going to attract the type of person that you are. That's going to happen. It's just like, I'll do things and I'll put stuff out, and I know that no matter what, my main demographic is going to be not only women, but it's going to be Black women. It's because of women, I mean, Hispanic, everything. I mean, so it's not a thing. Women in general tend to be my audience, but Black women are the core of my audience, and I know that. And I'm willing to make sure that I focus on Black women and things that I do. If I say it's only for Black women, then that's only who is. Don't to reflect the type of person that you are and the things that you put out. So when you look at your content, if that you're trying to attract, you may attract men, but then those men may be a part of the LGBT community. So you are not going to serve everybody, no matter what you do. And even in that population, if you do serve, all of the genders and everything like that, then you'll have to take into consideration it's still going to be a core audience of whoever you're looking for. So the things that I would say for you to put into your brand, if you're trying to attract the everybodyness that you're talking about, consider using all of the pronouns and the things that you put out, and that will make people feel more comfortable. The people who really care about cisgender and the her, hers, him, his, they, them kind of thing, if you use that in some of your marketing, it will attract those people who tend to be more sensitive and who are probably going to be more focused on wellness in the first place. So hopefully that will be able to help you. But just consider that mauve is your accent color and not your main color if you want to be as universal as possible.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That does help because I got asked to speak for a men's group and it kind of like scared me because I was like, y'all know I'm not a man. So, you don't define men. And so I just was apprehensive or a little nervous being like, this is my business. And them being like, okay, that's a lot of pink for a group of Black men. So I just was a little scared.
Yeah, but listen. Oh, you know what? My phone is dying. Oh, God. Didn't even think about that. This is terrible. I wasn't even thinking about my phone. Lord Jesus. Tonight has been all the technical difficulties. Because I wasn't even planning on using my phone. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure that you always show up and show out and continue to give it to the people.